Hello everyone, so I'm just about to mash in on this brew behind me. It's going to be a KristalWeizen today, and yeah, I'm going to do a grain to glass on it, so let's get into it. Okay, so I've been spending a lot of time recently working on the Keyser build, which is just down here, coming along nicely, but I will link back to the build videos for that up there, so go and check that out if you haven't seen it already. I don't know what state it will be in by the time this video comes out, but it might even be finished by then, so we'll see. But anyway, that's coming along well, but it has been distracting me a little bit from brewing. So yeah, I've just had a keg of New England IPA kick yesterday. The APA that was in next to it is about to go as well, and I've only really got one other beer that's currently conditioning in a keg and half of a golden ale. So I don't want to have this thing ready and then no beer to put in it, so I need some beer that's going to be turned around quickly, and I thought that the best option for that would be to go for a wheat beer. And I've had this recipe that I saw from Timmi Jenkins. He sent me one of these beers before as well, and then I saw that Graham Preston was brewing his version of it recently. He did a video, I'll put a link up to that. Looked really good, and I just thought, yeah, I'll do that one as well. So this is the recipe. We've got your usual kind of Pilsner and wheat malt base, 2.2 kilos of wheat malt, 1.84 kilos of Pilsen. The full recipe will be in the description below, by the way, if you want to check it out. And then 200 grams each of Munich and Vienna. So a nice kind of malt character should be coming through there. A little bit more body from the Munich and the Vienna, hopefully, as well. If the version that I tried was anything to go on, it definitely had that kind of rich malt flavour in spades, so that should be good. And then onto the hops. It's a little bit unorthodox in terms of the hopping for a wheat beer, but as far as I'm concerned, if it tastes good, who cares what the style guidelines say. So especially if you're not brewing the beer for kind of competitions or whatever. So we've got some Saaz in there at 60 minutes, and then Hallertau Hersbrucker, more Saaz, so the Hersbrucker at 30 minutes, 30 grams of Saaz at 15 minutes, and then at the end, flame out hops, 30 grams of Cascade and 30 grams of Saaz. So yeah, by normal wheat beer standards, that's a bit of a hop bomb, but when I tried the original, it wasn't, you know, overpoweringly hoppy, I wouldn't say. It just had a lot of flavour to it. So and you've still got fairly traditional noble hops, which are quite subtle in flavour. You've just got a little bit of Cascade there as well. Yeast is the CML KristalWeizen, which is why this one's going to be a crystal wheat beer rather than a standard Hefe. It just means that the wheat drops out a little bit more, so you end up with a clearer beer at the end. Otherwise, it kind of pretty much tastes exactly the same as you know, what you'd expect from a wheat yeast. So quite a bit of banana and bubblegum flavours with this one, hopefully. That was the main kind of flavour from the yeast that came through in the original. And yeah, that's about it. Not so much the clove and spiciness with this one, I don't think. Yeah, so that's the recipe. Mashing at 65 degrees and fermenting at 19, I believe, if I remember the recipe correctly. So let's get into some brew day footage. Right then, it's been in the keg for 4 days, so let's give it a taste. I know that it's carved up, and as you can see, the keezer is finished and fully operational now, so I'll chuck a link up to the final video of the build for that. Yeah, let's get this wheat beer into the glass. I was going to use one of those big Erdinger glasses, but I realised that those don't actually fit under these taps, so a slight oversight there on the planning for the keezer. They're not high enough to get the really tall wheat beer glasses under, but that's a minor concern really. And I recently acquired this Spiegelau wheat glass, which will do the job just fine. So like I said, 4 days in the keg, and it's reasonably well carbonated, but as you can see, it's not really got the crystal part of the KristalWeizen going just yet. I mean, it looks like a standard Weiss beer at the moment in terms of the clarity and stuff. Not that that's much of an issue, but I will expect this yeast to drop much clearer than that, given a bit of time and cooler temperature. Don't know if you can see it there, but there's bubbles streaming up the side of the glass, a nice frothy head on the top there, and yeah, as far as wheat beer goes, that's quite appealing. Nice colour to it. Now the aroma on this, you just get a real big hit of kind of banana, bubblegum type aroma. I think yeah, really that kind of classic wheat beer yeast kind of aroma, or more so the kind of German Weiss beer. And flavour wise, more of the same really. It's got a lovely smooth kind of rich body to it. It's although it actually finished out at 1.007, it's not dry really at all. It's still quite full in terms of the body and flavour, which is really nice. And yeah, all in all, it's just a really fantastic wheat beer, so I would thoroughly recommend trying this recipe out. It's definitely more on the kind of banana and bubblegum kind of side of things, rather than the kind of clovey flavours that you get with some wheat beers, but my personal preference is for that kind of flavour rather than the spicy kind of clove stuff. The hops, it's not really hoppy as such, but there's definitely a kind of depth of flavour to it that comes from that, and maybe just a hint of the kind of citrus from the Cascade, particularly in the SARS as well. As I said earlier in the video, it's not really traditional kind of wheat beer in terms of the hop levels or the kind of schedule for it, but it works really, really well. And yeah, I mean, well done Timmi for coming up with that. It's fantastic. I've brewed a lot of wheat beers before. They're really simple, easy beers to do. It's really easy to get a decent beer turned out with a very quick turnaround. I mean, this has only been in the keg for 3 days. I only fermented it for 10 days before I kegged it, so that's, yeah, pretty much 2 weeks grain to glass, and it's perfectly drinkable. I'm really happy with that. I will definitely brew this recipe again. So once again, well done to Timmi for coming up with the recipe in the first place, and thanks to Graham for putting up the video with the lighter version of it, which is what this is as well, based on. Yeah, really nice, and I suggest you brew it yourselves. Cheers guys.
I'm the dude, so that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness, or Duder, or you know, El Duderino.